because this was like a year or so of me trying to please this person that I didn't agree with. And once I got rid of that, it was like a relief. And I was like, oh my God, I feel so confident in myself right now. I feel confident in how I handled the situation and how it came across. Welcome to Casually Spiraling with me, Julie Bishop, just a tall girl in this world, trying to make sense of life, dating, money, relationships, identity, culture, all the things. I've learned that my thoughts don't always land with the people around me, so I am here to break it down, talk it out, probably overshare, and maybe find some who don't think I'm totally crazy after all. Hi, everyone. Welcome back for another week of spiraling. I hope you all loved the conversation last week with Ananda as much as I did. I really loved it. I loved how it went. I love what she opened up and shared and was really happy to share it with you. So if you haven't listened yet, that is last week's, and enjoy because it was really a good one. But I am excited to be back here, cozy, snuggled up in my blanket in my bed. Well, I'm here in California, all cozy, and most people I know are either on the East Coast or other parts of the country. Pretty much every other part of the country is in a snowstorm right now. And we're just here in our 60, 70 degree weather enjoying life. But here I am, all cozy in bed with you. And if you haven't already, I've been putting up more video versions of the podcast, either on Spotify or YouTube. So if you'd like to see me or see us or whoever's on the podcast as you are listening, check it out, Spotify and YouTube. Trying to do more and more video as much as I can. So please let me know. Do you prefer the video? Do you prefer the audio? I feel like so much has changed. Like podcasts started out being like, okay, people want audio because they're doing other things while listening and don't want to have to look. But then it like has evolved to like, wait, people want video now to watch you while you're speaking. So I don't know. What are your preferences? But trying to provide both. So video will be on Spotify and YouTube versions. What I have been spiraling about this week, I will tell you, and that is journal talk. I don't know about you, but journal talk has been popping up on my TikTok feed so much, and I don't know why. I don't know why either. I'm not really a journaler. I never liked writing. I always hated it. I always in school like rather have taken a test than write a paper any day of the week, and I don't know why. Writing, never been a creative writer. I guess that's why I'm on here yapping my thoughts than ever writing them down. The only writing I do is, my to-do list. And that's about it. Because that's not my cup of tea. It's not for me. But all over my TikTok, this top of 2026 has been this journal talk. And it's just very extensive. It's not just simple little journaling I'm seeing. It's like people doing full-on artwork in their journals and making their pages pop out and 3D and like an actual like illustration from a children's books and little, I don't know, pop outs and all the things. And I'm like, dang, whoa. Do we gotta do all this? Is this what you're trying to tell us to be healthy? We got to do all of this in 2026 because there's no way. And then it's like all the people on there be like, yeah, I wake up an hour earlier than normal. Then I have to just to journal in the morning and to meditate like an hour earlier. Who has an extra hour in their day? Is that realistic? I don't know, at least not for me. I already know I am already waking up super early just to try and fit everything that I need to do in each of my days. And adding another hour to that would be waking up at like 4 a.m. at the crack of dawn to write in a journal, when really I may just feel better about my day catching an extra hour of sleep, honestly. But I mean, if you love journaling and that's for you and that's your thing and it's making you feel better, of course, go for it, girl. But I don't know, just the extensiveness of it, I suppose, is like surprising to me everywhere, all over my feed. And I'm like, whoa, like it's growing and growing and growing. What happened to just getting a little notebook and writing down a few thoughts for 5 minutes of your day? This has turned into a whole novel each day, and it has to be so elaborate. And I guess that's where I'm going with this, is sometimes there are simpler ways for these habits that the internet and society tries to push on people. One, you don't even have to do this habit at all if you don't want to, but if it is helpful, right now what I'm seeing is like you have to go above and beyond. And it doesn't always have to be like that. If you're just trying to, it helps you and you're just trying to add it a little bit into your day, don't let it make you feel like you have to do all that. Of course, if you want to, go for it. But what I'm seeing is just like bang, bang, bang. Do this and do that and do that and that. And now, like, hold on. Like, you can just be as productive, and there's no shame if you don't make it a whole production. If it's just a little something for you, it doesn't have to be for anyone else. But yeah, this just keeps popping up, and the more I see it, it's more extreme, and I'm just like, what is going on? How is everyone doing this? Who has the time getting a full paint set? Who has all this artistic creativity? I wish I did, but I don't. And yeah, I guess that is just what I'm like, there's so much extremes with like what people are trying to push these days. And yeah, just you do you. That's what I'm spiraling about today. It just feels like another way that we are being told is the right way to be healthy. And if you don't do it perfectly, then you're failing. Like there's all these right specific ways, and that's what makes you a healthy person. Like if you journal, you're a healthy person. If you meditate, you're a healthy person, and this and that. And really just take what you want and leave what you don't is what I say. But I guess that kind of falls into the topic we're going to be getting into today, because honestly, like you only like the whole people pleasing, you don't need to please the whole world or follow the whole world's quote unquote standards that they're pushing towards you. Just focus on yourself and prioritize yourself. But before we get straight into people pleasing and kind of on this topic, I do have some 2026 predictions for the pod that I wanted to share. I'm not saying resolutions or goals per se. These are just some fun predictions for the year that I think maybe will come up on the podcast this year in some way or another. One prediction I have for the podcast this year is more guests, and ones that I will probably be oversharing with. I feel like when I just start talking to a guest, I get lost in being honest and open with them, and I just start spilling, and that's okay, but I don't see that stopping anytime soon. So probably more of that in 2026. And another one is I like going off of that, I suppose, is what I'm going to omit on here in 2026, because I just be yapping. And then I realize after the fact that, oh yes, this will be published and put out to the public forever and for anyone to consume. And I'm like, oh, that's a little scary. It's a little scary when you think about it. And I don't think about it always in the moment as I'm, sitting here recording into the mic. And then I think about it after. I'm like, oh yes, I did say that, and I did publish that. And that is on the internet, probably forever. So yes, probably more of that to come. I don't see me stopping that, but maybe just continuing that concern. We'll see what happens. We'll see where it goes. The next one is maybe some sort of live series. The other night, I was out with my friends. We went out and I tried doing a little live in the moment interviewing one of the bouncers. Not like a full-on interview, but getting some intel, asking some questions. My friend brought these little mics that she has, but the sound still was really shot and really bad because we were right by the door and it was like opening and closing with the really loud music nearby. So we'll have to figure that out, but it was a fun idea. I'm going to try and clip together if I can anything from that video, but yeah, it wasn't super successful with the sound, but the idea is there. And I think it's really interesting, like getting live from the source feedback, because these bouncers, they be overhearing things. They be getting the tea. They be seeing all the interactions take place from their POV. So we went straight to the source and we said, what are you hearing from these men? What are you seeing from these men that aren't approaching, or their friend groups? Or what is your take on it being in this? They're very much present in an environment where people are out and single and trying to meet people and this and that. So maybe some sort of live little series, little segments like that, I think would be fun. But we'll see. Stay tuned. We may be spiraling out in the wild in 2026. And then the last one I was thinking is, hopefully my prediction for this 2026 is that I'll be getting more insane stories from you guys. Because I know everyone out there is a little bit of a freak in a little bit of a way, at least some way. And I know it. I just know it by the stories I've already got sent. So I want to hear more of them. Show your freak. We're in it together. And I know you got them. Because we were hearing some crazy ones in some previous episodes. So I know I'm going to be getting more insane spiraling from you guys as well. I'm not the only one. Don't leave me here in the dust by myself, okay? Join me in 2026. Now, these are not resolutions per se, but these are just the vibes for 2026. And then we'll deal with the consequences of the vibes after, or at some point, or maybe never. Okay, so now let's get into today's topic. Today's topic, I have briefly touched on it here and there, maybe a tiny bit in some episodes, but I think it really deserved a whole episode on its own because it's something active in my life. It's something I've not overcome. I'm coming from the POV of in it and fighting it, and that is being a people pleaser and how to fight those tendencies and how to not be a people pleaser. So yeah, this is something that actively I'm still a work in progress. I'm not coming from I'm on the other side of it. I am in the midst of it. And I think a lot of people are too, and maybe not always realize it. And maybe we'll realize it soon, or once they do realize it, is like, dang, it's a hard habit to break. So just people pleasing in general. And I guess if you're trying to figure out if you have these tendencies or not, I guess like scenarios that come up for me is like, do you ever say yes to things that you don't want to do out of like fear of disappointing someone or hurting someone's feelings? I guess that comes up a lot with me, like either with someone, like a new person in my life, like maybe asking to hang out or do something that you don't want to do, but you say yes, even though you may not have the time or energy, or that person may not be for you, out of just like you don't know how to say no, and you are fearing that it may hurt their feelings, or you don't know how to tell them like, no, you actually don't want to do that. Because then maybe you're a people pleaser a little bit. Or do you ever, like, this scenario is very active, you're ever talking to a guy or a girl or whoever at a bar that you're not interested in, like they came up to you, but you feel bad rejecting them, and then you're spending all this time that you could be with your friends talking to someone you're not interested to, and maybe you give them your number just to end the conversation because you don't know how to, or it's hard for you to just tell them you're not interested out of fear of rejecting them or hurting someone's feelings or coming across in a certain way. Because then maybe as well, maybe it's a people pleaser tendency. I don't know. Maybe I did that this weekend. Who's to say? I'm to say, because yes, I did. And it's like just this tendency, I suppose, to prioritize being liked and coming off as likable and nice. Then just you're prioritizing that over being honest. And you always like, putting other people's feelings and considerations over yourself, which that may sound bad to not do, but in certain scenarios, you do have to be aware of what takes a toll on yourself. And there's ways to go about it. You'll see. You'll see. We're getting into it. And then another one, like maybe you'll apologize for something that you don't feel the need to apologize for the sake of someone else. Now, this maybe is a touchy one, but sometimes if you are just honest and you've communicated clearly and you are just, prioritizing yourself and your values and who you want to surround yourself with, sometimes other people may not react to that well. So then you just feel the need that even if you've done nothing wrong, you need to apologize to accommodate them. When, this is touchy. And there's a lot of scenarios where it's not always clear when it's this case and when it's not, but it is something to consider. It is like, am I being made guilty right now when I haven't done anything wrong and I feel like I just need to please them? So let me say I'm sorry, even though I actually don't believe I've done something wrong. But of course, you always need to self-reflect and be self-aware. So that's why this one is a little touchy, but let's get into it, shall we? And like I'm saying, I am 100% in the middle of this and not over this. Actively just had some of these tendencies recently this weekend. So this is coming from a place that I'm right here with you, working on it, not on the other side of it. So let's figure it out together, please, because I need to for myself. This is really selfish, honestly. Honestly, pretty selfish. But where this people-pleasing tendencies stem from, I guess, is where we can start to look at it. And I think it stems from a few things, like fear of conflict. Some people hate conflict, hate confrontation, hate being in disagreements with people. It's never a nice feeling. So then they just resort to people pleasing out of that fear. Also fear of disappointing others and always wanting to be agreeable or the easy person or the chill girl or coming across as low maintenance, go with the flow. That's me, always agreeing and easy. And I guess the fear would be like not coming off that way if you just, do what's best for you instead of always for other people. Some other ways people pleasing can, sneak itself in there. Other ways that it can kind of look like is maybe saying it's fine, like maybe going along with certain things with friends all the time. Like they always want to do one thing, but you maybe want to do something else. And you just, always saying, yeah, it's fine. Yeah, it's fine. Instead of being like, yeah, all good. But maybe next time, can we do this? Like I did want to do this, instead of always just immediately saying it's fine. That's just another example of maybe how it can show up. Or maybe agreeing with someone else's opinion just to avoid awkwardness and not giving your own or holding back your own. Like you may, share a different belief or have a different opinion of someone in your life, and you don't want, again, confrontation or conflict there. So you just agree with it, even if that's not actually what you think or feel, just out of that, avoidance. That is another way, maybe it could show up in your life or in someone and then feeling guilty afterwards if you do end up putting your needs first but you're still feeling guilty afterwards, that is like still, I guess it's a people pleasing tendency that comes about after you're trying to overcome the people pleasing tendency. So all different ways I feel like it can appear and look like in someone, or I've seen or I've experienced or I've been through myself. And like I said, it's a work in progress for me. I feel like this is something that tends to always be a work in progress. I don't know. Is this something that you can actually ever like fully get over and then never have the tendency again? I don't know. I don't believe that. I feel like it's always just something to be mindful of and a work in progress as you, going along and caring about, through life and through your day to day. And I think part of it is that sometimes being honest can feel mean. Now, I don't mean the type of people that are actually mean and say some unnecessary shit all the time, and then their excuse for it is like, oh, I'm just a blunt and honest person. Because that's a whole other topic. I don't think that's an excuse for just being straight up mean to someone or saying unnecessary things that maybe couldn't just stay in someone's mind and not said out loud. I don't agree with that. And that's not the type of person I mean, because no, not everything needs to be said, but it's more like when maybe just a person isn't your cup of tea. Not everyone is for everyone, and that's okay. That's okay. And that is a life. Not everyone is meant to be in everyone's life or be around or be friends. And sometimes admitting that to someone is a tricky thing because you're maybe, it's not going after, but it's commenting on someone's personality, morals, values, maturity, whatever it may be. So it can feel like maybe like saying those things are mean when it's okay it's okay. We're not all meant to be for each other. It's okay. Everyone is different. That's what makes everyone so unique. If we were all the same and got along, everything would be boring and perfect, and nothing is picture perfect like that. So I think generally no one needs to say everything that's on their mind. We all have obtrusive thoughts, and you don't need to say everything that's on your mind that's unnecessary just to be mean. But you do need to stop abandoning your own self for the peace of others. You sometimes have to protect your own peace, and that is okay. But I get it, and I know I am always have that fear in my mind of awkwardness and disappointing others and fear of hurting other people's feelings, which that's a human and empathetic thing to think, but sometimes that can burden you and weigh you down and make things worse in the long run than noticing these things earlier on. But there are nice and respectful ways to go about all this. Again, it's not just being like, no, I don't like you. Like, that's not the way to avoid being a people pleaser. I think there are healthy, communicative, respectful ways to go about all this. So let's discuss how. How should we avoid these tendencies and try and get over it? So I think instead of being like, no, I don't want to be your friend, you go about it in the way of in the mindset of what I'm saying, not everyone is for everyone. I just don't think we share the same values, and I don't have the capacity to add another person into my life right now. I'm so focused on myself and the friends that I already have. So I'm trying to prioritize right now and just, don't feel the capacity to add another one. And I think maybe we just share some different, values and morals that I look for in a friend. That is how I have tried to done it in the past. I think I briefly talked about a few situations where I had a coworker once who, again, we were fine coworkers. You go in and you do your job and you get along and you work with people. But as someone who I wanted in my life outside of work in a friend sense, just wasn't for me. We were also a couple years apart. So I also think there was just a maturity difference there. But how we carried ourselves was quite different. And again, me trying to be intentional on keeping positivity instead of negativity in my life and who I surround myself with, we just differed a bit in that. So I was saying yes to this person for a while, hanging out with them when I already was so stressed and so busy and trying to find time again for myself and for other people. But again, I just hated the fact of saying no. So I would every once in a while say yes and do this. And every single time I'm like, why am I doing this? I don't want to be doing this. And it just became such a weight on my shoulders that I eventually at one point, it was over text. I did write it out prior. But she this person, I guess, sent me a text and I was like, okay, how do I go about this? So I just explained, and those things weren't lies. They were honest. It was I wasn't feeling capable to take on another person in my life right now. I did feel the need to prioritize myself and my career and my current friendships that I'm trying to keep strong. So again, none of that was lies. It's just I think the nice way to let someone down or, be honest with someone in that way. So I told them that and then it worked out. We were okay as coworkers. Cause again, I think that was another thing I was worried about was, I have to see this person at work. So I don't want things to be, again, awkward or have conflict at work. So I was just honest. And then it was a relief because I was always if I saw her name pop up on my phone or she asked me to hang out at work, I'm like, what excuse can I come up with? I always was searching for an excuse to say no. And now I'm like, okay, I said my piece. I don't have to worry about that anymore. It was like a worry that I didn't even know I had, but once it was gone, it was gone. And then similarly, so there was another, friendship that I did start as a friendship and bring it into my life. And the more and more that we spent time together, the more and more I realized, yeah, we really don't have the same values. We are very different people. We prioritize different values. And again, not someone, I wanted to have in my friend circle. And again, that's okay. And we were both going through very different things in our lives at that moment. And again, anytime her name popped up on my phone, I felt so stressed. I felt a knot in my stomach. I'm like, oh my God, what do I have to do now? And as soon as and this one, definitely went on for a little while, me trying to go above and beyond to please this person out of guilt and out of, not wanting to reject someone. I just, again, had a conversation and sent a message and explained the differences in our values and where I'm at in my life and that I wish her the best. And I think it's best if we move on. And oh my gosh, that one I could physically feel the weight being left off my shoulders after I sent that text or that message or that phone call. I don't exactly remember which one. I just know from then on out, oh my gosh. Because this was like a year or so of me trying to please this person that I didn't agree with. And once I got rid of that, it was like a relief. And I was like, oh my God, I feel so confident in myself right now. I feel confident in how I handled the situation and how it came across. And now I can literally take the biggest sigh ever and personally was like, I'm a new woman right now. So again, there's good ways to go about this. It doesn't have to be a mean and rude way. There are nice and respectful ways that you can be confident in to go about these situations. Now, the situations where I guess you're out and someone comes up to you, someone's hitting on you and you're not interested in them. Now, of course, what I'm talking about is only the situations that they're not being disrespectful or they're not putting their hands on you without consent or permission or anything like that. This is just they're normal, but you're just not interested in that or in them. And you just feel bad rejecting them out in public like that. So this kind of scenario, when you're someone's coming up to you, you don't have to have a mean attitude if you're rejecting them. Unless they're being disrespectful or putting their hands on you. Let me reiterate. But you can just approach it with I'm not interested and thank you so much. Have a great night. And if they don't get the hint from that, then again, that's on them. And then you can do what you need, stand up for yourself. But if you always, with the first approach, instead of reject them because you don't want to waste your time, and just go about it thank you, flattered, I'm not interested, but yeah, wish you the best. I promise they're not going to be crushed. They don't even know your name yet. It's not going to haunt them for the rest of their lives. Whatever you may think, they're just going to move on. And that's that. Maybe they're a little embarrassed in front of their boys or something, but what are you going to do? Spend the rest of your night talking to this person when you could be having fun with your friends? Because been there. Definitely have spent way too long talking to someone I'm not interested in just out of I feel bad saying no to this guy right now. And then afterwards, I'm always like, why did I do that? Why? Or why did sometimes I'll give my number just to end the conversation. Why? Why couldn't I just be I'm not interested. Thank you. Have a good night. And then get back on with my friends. And then however they respond to that, that's up to them. So that's something I definitely am still working on because I'm wasting my own personal fun night with my friend in order to please someone else. And you can't control how anyone's going to react or how they'll take things. And you can't worry about that either because you don't have control over it. So what's the point of worrying about that? As long as you keep your side of the street clean, and if you handle things confidently, respectfully, kindly and with grace and, to the best of your ability with how you're communicating, then how someone is going to react to that, you can't put that pressure on yourself, because that's up to them and that's on them how they take it. If you truly are, coming from a good place and, just say your piece and whatever, and then move on. If someone reacts poorly, you have no control over that. All you can do is focus on your part of things. We never have control on how other people react. So you can't even have that thought in your head. You just have to focus on what you can do to make the situation best for yourself, prioritizing yourself without being rude or disrespectful. And then, however they take that, that's kind of on them. You only have so much control, and that is something you don't have control of. So do your best, keep your side of the street clean, and then, what happens from there is what happens from there. And I worry all the time that someone will have like a hot reaction, but there's a freedom, or like a hot reaction as in, like blowing up or reacting, with a hot head. But there's a freedom in knowing that you did the healthy thing and you did it for both of you. You did it because you're not wasting their time, like they can move on, and you're not wasting your own time. Because if you just elongate people pleasing, like that one relationship I did for kind of like a year, it just makes things worse and more confusing to them in the long run when you do end up being honest with them. So really, it's for the best on both of your parts. You're not wasting their time and you're not wasting your own time. So there's a freedom in knowing like, okay, I handled that how if I was on the other end of it, I would want to be spoken to or handled. And that's all you have control over. And if you truly just communicate healthily, is that a word? If you really just communicate in a healthy way and peacefully, and they react poorly, then that's for them. And you're not responsible for others in that sense. So don't put that pressure on yourself afterwards. Okay, so some tactics that I think might be helpful to avoid the people pleasing. Let's discuss them. One is pause, take a moment, slow down before immediately saying yes to things. I think sometimes with me, out of like anxiety and like not knowing what to say, let's say someone asks you to hang out or whatever, this or that, and you're really just like, yeah, okay, like out of like not knowing what to say and avoiding awkward silences and just immediately saying yes. And sometimes there's like that pressure to give an answer right away when you don't have time to think about how to handle the situation. So sometimes if possible, take a pause, and then how you can even give yourself that pause. If you feel there's not a pause, instead of just saying yes, be like, let me think about it and I'll get back to you. And then that way you can think about, is this something you want or not? And then you have the time to think about, okay, how should I approach it and how to say no? Instead of just, yes, like instant reaction, spontaneous, immediate, out of coming from anxiety or whatever, pressure, just immediately saying yes. So sometimes it's important to slow down and think about what you want, and then you can prioritize, how should I handle this? And then it's more clear and direct. And you have that time to make things more clear for both of you. So another one I think to think about is sometimes saying less is better. And yes, I sure have wrote up a whole novel. A long ass novel of a story trying to keep sounding like the nice guy or being the nice person, and then just maybe throwing in my actual thoughts and feelings a little bit, and then being like, but this and this and this, but this and this, but, and then going, I just don't have the time, but this and this, and just go on and on and on and on and on. When sometimes I think maybe saying less and being precise is better. It's more clear to them. I think it leaves people less confused on what your intention is and how they should take it. Because if you're just throwing in little little words about how you actually feel, and it's surrounded by a bunch of fluff of you trying to be the nice guy, then I think that can lead to future issues of they really didn't get the message because it wasn't clear. So then you're going to put yourself in the same position again and then have to again avoid people pleasing and figure out a way to prioritize yourself. So I think sometimes, again, it's better for the both of you that saying a little bit less may be better. And this avoids being too much, too confusing, and not clear for anyone in the situation. Concise and respectful to get to the point, I think is the best. Respectful, but in a concise way, to the point, and that's that. And wish you the best. And woohoo! Because, sometimes that long story will just leave hope and make people feel lost and still have that hope. And then that hope is just going to reroute you back into the same place later on. So start small, especially with strangers. Start it like practicing these people pleasing, like these tendencies to get over people pleasing. I think it's easiest to start the practice with strangers, like those scenarios, like people at the bar. And then you can, once you feel comfortable and how you're communicating and coming across, then you, I think, can incorporate them to people who are already in your life, like your friends and family and stuff. But maybe if you're trying to avoid being a people pleaser, start small with strangers that just approach you and coming up, test it out, feel out how you want to go about things, and then you can move into your already established relationships and, people that will be around in your life still, and your coworkers, friends, family members, and all that. I think that may be helpful practice to ease your way into not being a people pleaser. Now, what happens when you do avoid being a people pleaser and stand up for yourself? Honestly, some people may not like it. Some people aren't going to like it and they're not going to understand and they may take things the wrong way. But again, how much control over that do you have? You can't control others in any scenario. Again, just focus on how you want to control yourself in this scenario and how, if you were on the other side of it, you were the other person, how would you want to be spoken to and how would you want to be told? And then, go from that empathetic mindset. And that's all you have control over. But at the same time, I really think a weight will be lifted. I can't even explain it. It was a physical feeling once I started realizing that, I don't have to be friends with people I don't want to. Or I don't have to always go along with something or someone's opinion, even if I disagree or don't want to. You can have differences, and that's okay. And oh my gosh, was a weight lifted. Seriously, I really felt like a new woman, and I think you're gonna just be happier in general with your life. Because again, then you are selective on who you're surrounding yourself with. And then if you become not a people pleaser, whatever the opposite of that may be, I think then it allows you to focus on you and what's important to you and your values. I've talked about on here how I definitely overbook myself with career stuff, making time with friends and family, and everyone's time is precious. Everyone's time is precious and important. We're in a society where everyone feels like they need to be, that hustle culture, doing everything all the time. So if you are also letting people or things or activities into your life that you don't want to just out of fear of not pleasing them, then now if you overcome that, you can focus on the things you actually want to be doing and the people you actually want to be around. And then that's just happier overall, because then every aspect of your life is what you actually want to be doing. Of course, people have to work and there's certain life things as you just have to do. No one wants to do chores or go to work or this and that. But in a relationship sense and in your goal sense, this allows you to reprioritize where you're at and the time that you have, because everyone, it seems again, has limited time. So prioritize that and know it's important for you. And then lastly, I feel like it does just bring a confidence in yourself and knowing how you handled things. Because before I would always be like, oh, why did I do that? Afterwards, like I would think about afterwards, I was like, why did I do that? Like, wasn't I just honest? Or why did I put myself in this situation? I don't get it. Why did I waste my time like that? But once you're able to, start handling these situations differently, not in the people pleaser mindset, and prioritizing yourself, and you handle it in a respectful way, then this confidence that comes to you is like, yeah, I did that. I have no doubt in how I handled that. And it just feels good. It feels good and it feels freeing. Like, okay, I did what I did, said what I needed to do. And yeah, I prioritizing myself. I didn't hurt anyone else's feelings. I mean, maybe you do, but again, how you went about it was as nicely and respectful as you could and honest. And yeah, you can feel confident in that. And that is just a good feeling going forward with how you carry yourself. So if you are watching the video right now, you probably just noticed the video cut out. That's because this is me a few days later coming back in because I felt the need I had to add something to this episode. I sat on this episode and have been thinking about it for a few days and thought it was really important to come back and add this little segment on boundaries. The more and more I thought about it and the more and more I thought about my experiences and how this can really affect people pleasers. So if you're watching the video, I don't have a video for this part. It'll come back at the end of the episode, but I really thought it was important to come back in and add this. So if you find the need to set a boundary, I think for people pleasers, this can be really difficult. One, to stand ground to your boundaries. And two, sometimes people who don't like people who set boundaries, then they can't accept boundaries and they will make them feel bad for having boundaries or make them question themselves and their intentions. And I feel like especially for people pleasers, this can be very difficult to see past or overcome, because someone may present or flip the switch as like a victim or, turning the script or showing that they don't like your boundaries. So then people pleasers may feel bad for that person and then apologize and feel the need to break their boundaries. But I've learned how important, if you are uncomfortable with someone or how someone treats you or situations you're put in, you must stay strong to your boundaries. I've had one of these situations that I've been talking about on here, the friendship that, was about a year or so long. The insanity that I really that came about and I just put up with being a people pleaser was insane. And I will share with you to make you hopefully not feel crazy if you've ever had situation and you're looking back and you're like, oh my God, I can't believe I put up with that. Like, what was I thinking? Why was I not standing up for myself? But it was actually insane. So thinking back, this relationship or friendship, definitely things got manipulated to make me feel bad. Certain circumstances, certain situations, some health stuff, which I'm not going to get into, but was used to make me or this person's other acquaintances maybe feel bad in certain situations. And it led to this person, crazy instances. I was living an hour away from this person and they were asking me to drive them all around because I couldn't drive for certain reasons, run them errands. It felt like whenever I was asked to, hang out, it was okay, but can you come drop me off at my hair appointment or this or that, or take me to get my nails done, or insanity. And I was going through a breakup at the time. My emotional state was already not there. I lived an hour away. I was trying to balance work. I was trying to balance my career already and my emotions at the time. And I was running around stressing myself out, wearing myself down for this person, just out of the fear of hurting them, saying no, and this and that, which is insane. It's insane. I was really wearing myself thin. And then I got asked for a credit card and for money and to rent a car in my name. And oh my gosh, it was so ridiculous. And yet I still didn't set my boundary or stand up for myself out of these fears and out of these tendencies that I kept having a habit of. And it finally took like realizing we definitely prioritized different stuff. There was multiple other reasons. I was made feel bad for not responding to this person if I was out or traveling or hanging out with my other friends. And it eventually just became enough that I couldn't handle it anymore, and it was forced for me to set my boundary. But I mean, thank God I went through this, because from this, I now can apply it in current situations or future situations after this, and really learn that it's okay to have a boundary, and please don't let anyone make you feel bad for it or make you question yourself and your intentions because of it. Because that can be really emotionally tolling on oneself. And I think for people pleasers, it can be so easy to fall into this and to feel like, oh my gosh, I did something wrong. I shouldn't be setting this boundary. I need to help this person for in these certain circumstances. And I must have done something wrong because they're hurt because I set this boundary. No, it's okay. Some people just don't know how to respect boundaries, or don't like being told that you have a boundary because they're not used to that, or whatever reason it might be. You will find your people who will clearly respect your boundaries. And those are the people you should hang on to. And they won't make you feel bad for it. They won't make you feel like a bad person, and you won't feel the need to please them. So this is a big thing that I've learned in the process of trying to not be a people pleaser. And I thought it was really, really important to come back on here and share that. And I did not want to publish this episode, even though I already edited it, without coming back and, explaining this, because it can be really detrimental and can really make you question yourself. And that is not always deserved. And yeah, it is okay to put yourself first. It is okay to set your boundaries and be self-aware on that. Don't ever feel like you need to be in anything uncomfortable just because someone may be trying to make you feel bad or doesn't like your boundaries or this and that. So I hope that sits well with you. I hope this helps someone, because it helped me and going through it. And yeah, I hope so. Let me know, and we'll get back into the other day and the end of this episode. But all in all, to conclude out this topic, I am still in the game. I am still in the people pleaser game. My friends that have been in my life and know me very well, have been in my life, longer and know me well, they have to call me out for it all the time, because they know that my close friends know. And it's good to have those friends who can do that. But yeah, I'm still in the game and I'm still working on it. So again, if you have any ways that you go about this, please let me know, because I would like more ways to prevent myself from being a people pleaser all the time. But never gonna be perfect. I'm never gonna be perfect in any scenario. No one's gonna be perfect in every scenario. There's no way to it's just not possible to hold yourself up to a perfect standard or pedestal. But I am proud of myself when I do fight this tendency and I do handle it well. It feels good. It feels good, and proud of myself. So please tell me, what kind of situations do you people please in the most? Because I kind of shared these kind of friends and dating scenarios where maybe those are the two I people please the most. But I feel like some people may, in their work environment, or I don't know, families, parental relationships. So let me know. Please share. I want to know what areas you find yourself people pleasing in. And yeah, because I don't want to feel alone anymore. Please and thank you. Again, it's selfish. And yeah, then we can fight this people-pleasing tendencies together and all have this straight, direct plan for how to not be a people pleaser. Because we're leaving that in 2025. My prediction for 2026 is to not be a people pleaser anymore, because we are leaving people pleasing in 2025 and we are rolling credits on it in a respectful way. And I'm confident in that. Once again, thank you guys so much for listening. Please share, subscribe, all the things. And I love you, and I hope you enjoyed this and can relate to this as well. So I will see you next week, and I'm very excited for what's to come. Bye.